Okay, so we're excited to be here. Like you said, I'm Angela Dayton, the CEO of MedForums. The MedForums is a platform that allow healthcare providers to access and discuss medical education. So we have John Dayton here, who is the founder of MedForums and a practicing physician that identified the problem. And so we're going to talk about, he's going to kind of give a sense of what that problem is. I'll go over the market research that we conducted before starting the company. We'll hand it off to Eric, who's going to go over a wow factor, which is understanding your target audience and those pain points so that you can market effectively. And then Angela Brooks will talk about that effective executive marketing, establishing that foundation for the company.
So I'm over a company called Wow Factor Consulting, and I help people with a lot of the very early stage validation. And part of that is understanding your customer and how to position yourself so that you can do well marketing with them. And I kind of want to go to, how do we do the laser on this one? Here we go. All right, so this is kind of our model right here, where the first stages of a business model, you have idea, model, build, scale. And from that, we have lots of steps that we can do to know if we should go further. And really, I divide these steps into hypothetical validation and actual validation. In the beginning, you're starting out with, like Angela did, surveys and trying to find out what does a customer hypothetically think they want and would they actually use this product. But then we go further and we say, okay, let's do some wow factor tests, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then, okay, that's actually going to be worth our time to create a business model canvas and go about validating that. That's going to take a couple of months, though. So we actually have some benchmark tests, which is the wow factor test, to know if you even have product market fit and if you should continue on with that. If you do, then you continue and you're going to do some rapid assumption tests, some MVPs, and then before that, build and scale phase, you want to go back and check with your market and see, do we have everything up to date, and are we targeting and marketing in the right way that if we pour in all this fuel for scaling, we're actually going to grow with that hockey stick growth. So we actually have two really good tests. One is a go-to-market test, and Angela's about right there, where you're trying to measure, are your new customers coming from word of mouth or are they coming from promotional activities? And you have to have more customers coming through word of mouth than promotional activities in order to get the hockey stick growth. It's not mathematically possible to get hockey stick growth unless you have that ratio right. So what we can actually do is use the wow factor test. And the wow factor test is a test where we're rating your business on a scale of 1 to 10 based off of your target audience. And one of the questions we ask is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the wow factor for this business? 1 being, it's kind of boring, and 10 being, wow, that's amazing, here's my credit card, I'll buy that right now. And the reason this is important is because we actually have tested this over hundreds of businesses, and we've got this scale where if you have under 5, then you don't have product market fit. So you either need to change your product or change your market. If you have over 7.5, then you have product market fit. So that's where you should go forward and move on with business validation and onto the business model canvas. But a lot of people, they're in that 5 to 7.5 range. And so what we do is we use some tactics to identify who is your target audience and how can we actually boost your product market fit. So one of the ways we do this is we do focus groups and surveys. Now, focus groups and surveys can be the biggest waste of time and money if they're not done right. What originally this started out with is Gary Rhodes invented the wow factor focus group, which takes the 6-hat theory for getting really good focus groups that don't have groupthink or group shift. And so essentially what we're doing, and what we're going to be doing with Angela, is we're going to take her customers and we're going to bring them to a room around a table, and she's going to present the product to it. They've already actually used the product. So then we're going to ask them, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the wow factor? And the reason this is important is I'm going to actually rearrange the people in this room around the table according to wow factor. And what we're going to get now is your love group, your swing group, and your hate group. And that's really important because I'm sure that everybody here has interviewed or surveyed their customers, and they get a million different answers on what they should do and what they should change. And who do you listen to? It's really difficult. But when you're able to attach what their wow factor is, you're actually saying, for you, how much of a product market fit does this have? And the funny thing is that it ends up being this hate group here, they're the most vocal. They'll tell you all the things that you need to be changing about your business, and they have almost a passion and a drive to it. but they're not your customer. And if you listen to them, you're actually going to go in the wrong direction. And even if you built what they want you to build, they're never going to use it. Another thing is that we have the love group here. And we want to, in this focus group, we have 6 hats. So in each hat, we're going to be thinking of a different aspect of your business. So everyone literally wears a hat, and it's going to be a certain color. And one of the questions we're going to ask is, okay, this is the black hat. Think of everything negative about this idea. What's wrong with it? Why is it not working for you? For Angela, it'll be, why are you not leaving reviews on our website? And we're going to have everybody write down their answer first before they discuss it. And then we're going to go around from the most negative over to the most positive. And we're going to find out, why does this, what's wrong with this? And then the next hat, we're going to go, okay, what's everything that's positive about this? Why do you love it? Why are you using their product? And from that, we can find out what your value proposition is. Because we're going to try to sell to the swing group through the eyes of the love group. So those 8, 9s, and 10s, the reason why they are using your product and the benefits they see is actually how you want to position your company so that your swing group actually moves up to your love group. Interesting thing is we actually don't listen to the hate group ever in the focus groups. We actually do some filtering so that we don't have anybody, hopefully, under 5 in that focus group. Because we're really learning from your swing group and your love group. The next thing that we want to ask, though, is what would you change to improve this product? And from that, we're actually going to be listening to the swing group. Because the love group's already buying your product. They already love your product. All of your efforts are going to be spent on getting that swing group up into that love group. So there's a process that goes through that. We have, one of the ways that we stay away from group shift and group think and keeping people in those hats is we actually have bells out in front of each person. And anytime you deviate and go into a different hat, which is potentially going to bias people, everyone races to hit the bell. And it really trains people to think in the box that we're in, and you get really, really good in-depth thinking. So the way we do this is we have focus groups, but focus groups are a little bit expensive, so I've actually developed a survey that translates the wow factor score within plus or minus 0.5 of a point to the real focus group. But that's about a third of the cost, and you can get it done in just a couple of days. So my website's wowfactortest.com. If anybody wants to reach out further, there's more information on my website.
Yeah, so this is more of just a general marketing question. So when you're talking to people that love you and the swing people, I feel like those people are already on board, and anything you present, like, hey, would you like this? Would you like that? Would you like that? They're going to be like, yeah, great. You know, more is better to everything, right? And how do you determine, you know, I feel like that's kind of a hard process to be like, I'm not simply presenting to the customer, you know, all these good things that we could do, because they're going to say, yeah, all that's great. If you had all of that, that'd be awesome. And that's not helpful, right?
Right. So what we're actually doing here is you're presenting your product as is, not future changes and iterations, because you're right, then it gets kind of mixed up. Sure, people always want more and they always want things cheaper. But what you're doing is you're trying to assign a score to them, and we're looking at, okay, that swing group, how do we boost them up into the love group? And so what we're doing actually is when we're asking, what's the value proposition for this product? Why do you actually use it? We're having them rank in order of greatest importance to least importance. And we're trying to find, okay, what is everybody ranking as the top priority here? That's what your marketing message is going to be. But then we're also looking what's broken, and when we're asking what would you do to change it, we're asking 2 things. One thing, go back to that black hat. Look at what you wrote for your ranked list of things that you don't like, things that would hinder you from actually using this, and it's ranked. We're saying now go fix that. How would you suggest that we improve that? And then in general, do you have any other suggestions that maybe we haven't even thought of that could really boost our value in your mind? And so we're looking specifically at that swing group to see how can we boost it there, and whatever is usually most common among those people in the swing group, that's what we're actually going to focus on next. Those other ideas that they bring up that aren't so popular, that might be, you know, version 3 or 4 or 5, but really we're trying to find out what's the thing that would really boost that wow factor. Another thing we actually do in the focus group is we have a live video feed, and the entrepreneur is actually sitting outside listening to everything. And they're taking notes, and they've been trained on what to look from who, and they're actually going to come in at the end of that focus group, and pitch a version 2.0 of that product. And then we're going to get a new wow factor score from all of the group. And then you can kind of see a benchmark. Did it improve from the beginning to the end? And if so, then you know that those features that you suggested implementing at the end actually did help. And that's now what you're going to take into the next focus group.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a question similar. You almost answered it, but so when we do surveys, we do it with our current customers, and there is a hate group there. Do we not listen to them? Or how do we? I feel like it's valuable to listen to our current customers' hate group.
Correct. So I focus, there's two different areas. There's people who haven't even developed their product, and they use the wow factor test to know, is it even worth validating a business model and then going out and building it? And so they don't have current customers. And so we can use, if it's a mass market audience, we can even use tools like SurveyMonkey Paid Audience and have a really, really good filtering to make sure that only people in the target market are actually being used for that data. But then if you have current customers, absolutely use that to do a marketing audit to see somebody who's been exposed to our product, how are they actually liking it, what's their experience. And in that situation, finding out what your hate group, why they don't like you, certainly can be things that you can change, but make sure that you can actually satisfy them, and that at the end of the focus group, their wow factor score would go up when you implement new changes. That's one of the key things. If people's wow factor score is the same at the beginning, you make the changes, it's the same at the end, they're probably never going to be pleased, so don't even worry about them.
Thanks. Yeah, makes sense.
Good. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you again. Again, reach out to us. Let us know if we can help you in any way.